or unclean.
Leviticus Chapter 14, the law of the leprous. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
This shall be the law for the leprous or diseased person, for the day of his cleansing, when he shall be brought to the priest. The priest shall first go outside the camp and examine him. If the person has been healed of his leprosy or infectious skin disease, the priest shall instruct him to take 2 live, clean birds, and some cedar wood, scarlet yarn, and hyssop, and bring it to the priests. Then the priest shall instruct that one of the living birds shall be killed over fresh water in a clay pot. He is then to take the other living bird and dip it, together with the cedar wood, the scarlet yarn, and the hyssop, into the blood of the bird that was killed over the fresh water. 7 times he shall sprinkle the one to be cleansed of the leprosy or the infectious disease, and pronounce him clean. Then he is to release the living bird in the open fields. After this ceremony, he may come into the camp, but he must stay outside his tent for 7 days. Then the person to be ceremonially cleansed must wash his clothes, shave off all his hair, and bathe with water. Then he will be ceremonially cleansed. On the 7th day he must shave off all his hair. He must shave his head, his beard, his eyebrows, and the rest of his hair. He must wash his clothes and bathe himself with water, and then he will be clean. On the 8th day he must bring 2 male lambs and 1 ewe lamb, each of the first year, and each without blemish, along with 3/10 of an ephah, about 6 quarts of fine flour, mixed with oil for a grain offering, and a log of oil, about 2/3 of a pint of oil. The priest who is to pronounce him clean shall present both the one to be cleansed and his offerings in front of Yahweh at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Then the priest is to take one of the male lambs and offer it as a trespass offering, along with the log of oil. He shall wave both in front of Yahweh as a wave offering. Then he shall kill the lamb in the place where he kills the sin offering and the burnt offering, in a holy place. Just as the sin offering belongs to the priest, so also the trespass offering belongs to the priest. It is most holy. The priest is to take some of the blood of the trespass offering and put it on the lobe of the right ear of the one to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. The priest shall then take some of the log of oil, pour it into the palm of his own left hand, dip his right forefinger into the oil in his palm, and with his finger sprinkle some of it in front of Yahweh 7 times. The priest is to put some of the oil remaining in his palm on the lobe of the right ear of the one to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, on top of the blood placed there previously from the trespass offering. The rest of the oil in his palm the priest shall put on the head of the one to be cleansed, so the priest shall make atonement for him in front of Yahweh. Then the priest is to kill the sin offering, and make atonement for the one to be cleansed from his uncleanness. After that, the priest shall kill the burnt offering, offering it on the altar together with the grain offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him, and he shall be clean. But if he is a poor man, and cannot afford these, he must take 1 male lamb as a trespass offering, to be waved, to make atonement for him, 1/10 of an ephah, about 2 quarts of fine flour, mixed with oil, as a grain offering, a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, which he is able to afford. One shall be a sin offering, and the other shall be a burnt offering. On the 8th day he must bring them for his cleansing, to the priest, at the entrance to the tent of meeting, in front of Yahweh. The priest is to take the lamb for the trespass offering, together with the log of oil, and wave them both in front of Yahweh, as a wave offering. He shall kill the lamb for the trespass offering, and take some of its blood, and put it on the lobe of the right ear of the one to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. The priest is to pour some of the oil into the palm of his own left hand, and with his right forefinger sprinkle some of the oil from his palm 7 times in front of Yahweh. Some of the oil in his palm he is to put on the same places he put the blood of the trespass offering, on the lobe of the right ear of the one to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. The remaining oil in his left palm the priest shall put on the head of the one to be cleansed, to make atonement for him in front of Yahweh. Then he shall kill the turtle doves or the young pigeons, which the person can afford, such as he is able to afford, one for the sin offering and the other for the burnt offering, together with the grain offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him who is to be cleansed in front of Yahweh. This is the law for anyone who is leprous or has an infectious skin disease and who cannot afford the regular offerings for his cleansing.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
When you enter the land of Canaan, which I give you as a possession, and I put a spreading mildew in a house in that land, the owner of the house must go and tell the priest, I have seen something that looks like mildew in my house. The priest is to order the house to be emptied before he goes in to examine the mildew, so that nothing in the house will be pronounced unclean. After this, the priest is to go in and inspect the house. He is to examine the mildew on the walls, and if it has greenish or reddish depressions that appear to be deeper than the surface of the wall, the priest shall go out of the house, and at the entrance close up the house for 7 days. On the 7th day the priest shall return to inspect the house. If the mildew has spread on the walls, he is to order that the contaminated stones be torn out and thrown into an unclean place outside the town. He must have all the inside walls of the house scraped, and the material that is scraped off dumped into an unclean place outside the town. Then they are to take other stones to replace these, and take new clay and plaster the house. If the mildew reappears in the house after the stones have been torn out, and the house scraped and plastered, then the priest is to go and examine it again. And if the mildew has spread in the house, it is a destructive mildew. The house is unclean. The house must be torn down, all its stones, timbers, and all the plaster, and taken out of the town to an unclean place. Anyone who goes into the house while it is closed up will be unclean until sunset. Anyone who sleeps or eats in the house must wash his clothes. But if the priest comes to examine it, and the mildew has not spread after the house has been plastered, he shall pronounce the house clean, because the mildew is gone. To cleanse and purify the house, he is to take 2 birds, along with some cedar wood, scarlet yarn, and hyssop, and he shall kill one of the birds over fresh water in a clay pot. Then he is to take the cedar wood, the hyssop, the scarlet yarn, and the living bird, dip them into the blood of the dead bird mixed with the fresh water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. He shall cleanse and purify the house with the bird's blood, the fresh water, the live bird, the cedar wood, the hyssop, and the scarlet yarn. Then he is to release the living bird in the open fields outside the town. In this way he will make atonement for the house, and it will be clean. This is the law for any leprous or infectious skin diseases, for an itch, for mildew in clothing or in a house, and for a swelling, a rash, or a bright spot, to determine when something is clean or unclean. This is the law of leprosy or infectious skin diseases and mildew.
The